This might be a surprise to some of you, but despite its popularity, Charizard is one of the worst Pokemon in the trading card game. Those big numbers always look impressive to new players of the game, but unfortunately Charizard cards almost always revolve around two things: extremely expensive attack costs and discarding energy. Nearly 30 different Charizard cards have been printed over the last 20 years, and almost all of them are unusable in the competitive game. Today I want to talk about the opposite of Charizard and honor the best and most consistently strong Pokemon over the course of the Pokemon TCG's lifespan. I searched for single Pokemon that have been given multiple successful or powerful cards to see which Pokemon consistently produces the best ones. I tried to value both incredibly powerful tournament-winning strategies while also giving props to cards that have had multiple successes over the years. Hopefully along the way we'll be able to uncover some fun Pokemon TCG history, while also sharing what makes a competitive Pokemon card. Let's go!
Number 10.
Blastoise. What do Blastoise and Lil Wayne have in common? They make it rain. Normally you're only allowed to attach one energy card per turn, but starting with base set Blastoise and its classic Rain Dance Pokepower, you're able to attach as many water energy as you like in a single turn. 2? 5? 10? It doesn't matter! Once Rain Dance is in play, you're able to go crazy and break the game wide open. Blastoise EX's Energy Rain, combined with Holland's Cast Form, allowed it to power expensive attacks of any energy type, serving as the main pillar of the Blastoise Lugia Steelix Championship deck in 2006. And most recently, the Deluge Blastoise has been the foundation of plenty of successful water decks, including Jacob Van Wagner's 2015 World Championship victory.
Number 9.
Garbodor. Some Pokemon like Blastoise have a bit of an advantage because they've had several more years to print quality cards, but Garbodor is the youngest Pokemon on today's list, only getting cards starting with the 5th generation. If you've played the Pokemon TCG over the last 5 or so years, you're probably well familiar with one key word: Garbotoxin. Garbotoxin, Garbotoxin, Garbotoxin! They just keep printing Garbodors with Garbotoxin! It's an ability that allows you to shut off all other abilities, and when many decks run on abilities to activate their main strategy, Garbodor shuts them down completely. This job used to belong to a different pile of trash, with Muck, but one thing that has really pushed Garbodor to the next level is a brand new threat: Trashalanche. This new monster punishes your opponents for playing item cards by dealing massive damage, and has become the core of a brand new deck type that many argue is the best deck in Pokemon at the time of this video. Garbodor is trash, but its cards definitely aren't.
Number 8.
Jirachi. Jirachi has always been a fantastic support Pokemon multiple times over the years, and with so many different tricks. Hidden Legends Jirachi helped evolve your other Pokemon. Wishing Star Jirachi helped you draw important cards. Jirachi EX found supporter cards. Stardust Jirachi discarded special energy, and so on. There are so many helpful Jirachi cards with bizarre effects, but I'll always have a soft spot for Undaunted's Jirachi, which had a combination of energy acceleration with its power, and the ability to de-evolve your opponent's Pokemon with Time Hollow. This card played a critical role in my top 8 Worlds 2011 deck with Magnezone and Yanmega, usually giving me extra energy to throw with Magnezone's Lost Burn attack. Just like the Pokemon's lore, Jirachi usually makes your TCG wishes come true.
Number 7.
Dragonite. The original Dragon has had a long time to see different Pokemon cards, and it's seen a ton of success, often through strong attacks and abilities that allow it to work with energy cards. Team Rocket returns his Dark Dragonite paired with Dark Electrode to make a formidable combo in 2004, generating darkness energies and moving them around the board with Dark Trance. Shortly after that deck was no longer tournament legal, the Meta Knight deck ruled formats from 2006 to 2007, combining the oddly typed Delta Dragonite and Delta Metagross for energy acceleration and huge damage. The anti-SP Frontier Brain Dragonite helped Yuta Kamatsuda win the 2010 World Championships, where SP Pokemon were incredibly popular. And even unconventional strategies, like using the weaker but frustrating Deafen attack, have led Dragonite to regional championship victories. It's been a Pokemon of many different types over the years, but a ton of them are really good.
Number 6.
Darkrai. Darkrai is a weird Pokemon to put this high up on the list. On one hand, there are lots of weak Darkrai cards. In fact, most Darkrai printed are not competitive. However, the Darkrai cards that are good have ended up being insanely good, contributing to a stranglehold on the tournament metagame for many years. The first Darkrai EX was a true jack of all trades, providing free retreat in a support role and solid spread damage in an offensive role. It was turbocharged by the Dark Patch item card. It didn't just win Worlds, it won Worlds in back-to-back years for 2012 and 2013. In more recent days, Darkrai got a new EX, this time entirely built for firepower with the increasingly powerful Dark Pulse attack. Somehow, just 2 cards have won Darkrai countless events over the last few years of TCG history. And with an interesting new GX card coming around the corner, it's likely we haven't seen the last of the Night Terror yet.
Number 5.
Flygon. Good Flygon cards usually fall into one of 2 categories. The first is a common theme that you've heard often: energy, where cards like Legend Maker's Flygon EX and Delta Flygon were able to quickly accelerate attacks. The second, and the way I typically view Flygon, is nasty in-between turn effects. Delta Flygon EX piled on damage counters in between turns, spreading damage to the bench and compounding it with its Psychic Pulse attack. We also saw a similar damage spreading effect with the more recent Sand Slammer Flygon, piling on damage and then moving it with Dusk Noir. Flygon Level X, one of my favorite cards of all time, force your opponent to discard a card off of their deck in between each turn. Many players built decks around this ability alone, helping achieve the rare win condition of milling your opponent's deck completely. And it was also a great attacker against other Level X cards as well, with the greatest attack name ever: Extreme Attack. Extreme.
Number 4.
Mew. Mew is one of my favorite Pokemon cards because its flavor extends directly from the games. Mew can learn almost every attack in the video games, and Mew cards are all about copying the attacks of the other Pokemon on the field in the trading card game. All of these Mews, in one way or another, saw competitive success while copying other attacks. Because you're limited to only 4 copies of a card in your deck, in many cases these Mew cards allowed you to duplicate attackers, using Mew as a proxy to more consistently share your deck's main attack. This was probably most successfully done with 2006's Mew Trick, the deck archetype that led Jason Klaczynski to his first of 3 World Championship wins. Mew's ability to copy Manectric's Disconnect attack made it possible for you to lock your opponent away from trainer cards for an entire game. With the right partner, Mew can do anything.
Number 3.
Mewtwo. Here's an interesting addition to the list because technically we have done this before. In my Many Faces of Mewtwo video, I talked about the many different ways that Mewtwo has been an important face of the Pokemon TCG over the years. That segment was actually my inspiration for making a top 10 in this style in the first place. Mewtwo's theme has always been hard-hitting attacks, often based on how many energy that you have attached, and there was actually an additional tournament-winning Mewtwo that's been printed since that video aired in 2015. Mega Mewtwo YEX is ferocious, adding 30 additional damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. They just can't stop printing good Mewtwo cards. They can't help it.
Number 2.
Rayquaza. Rayquaza is basically what happens when the idea behind all those Charizard cards is actually implemented well. Like Charizard, Rayquaza often has expensive attacks that discard energy, but because it's a basic Pokemon, it doesn't have to waste valuable turns and deck space on evolutions. This card is often the big finisher, blasting its opponents for insane amounts of damage to ensure one-hit knockouts. For a long time, always doing it in style with its unique combination of fire and lightning energy. It often comes with abilities to move or generate energy onto itself, making those big costs a lot more reasonable to deal with. Rayquaza is just such a consistently good card. While it isn't always self-sufficient, it always seems to find a willing partner. For example, for that crazy 2-part card, Rayquaza and Deoxys Legend, it found a perfect home in David Cohen's 2011 world-winning Emboar deck. In recent TCG days, you've probably seen the dozens of successful variants that revolve around the flexible and powerful Emerald Break Mega Rayquaza card. In combination with the Skyfield Stadium and a ton of support, you can easily rip your opponent apart for over 200 damage without the discarding or high energy costs that you always see on Charizard cards today.
Number 1.
Gardevoir. In my opinion, Gardevoir is the complete Pokemon TCG package, contributing a variety of World Championship caliber decks over the years, while in general just having a ton of good cards. The very first Gardevoir cards were really strong in their era, giving us a combination of energy acceleration and an EX that hit for massive damage. Secret Wonders Gardevoir is hands down one of the strongest cards ever printed in the history of the game, combining a power that allows you to copy your opponent's played supporter cards and an unforgiving attack, Psychic Lock. The attack shuts down your opponent's powers, just like the Garbotox and Garbodor that we talked about at the beginning of this list. It made the Masters World Championships finals twice, and was even bolstered by Gardevoir Level X, giving your Psychic Lock Gardevoir more HP, a switching ability, and the potential to instantly knock out the weakest Pokemon on the field. More recently, Gardevoir's had the extremely rare feat of being able to claim not one, but two powerful Mega EX cards. One that does a ton of damage based on your field's energy, and another that created a unique deck where you intentionally discard and revive your own benched Pokemon over and over again for huge damage. Every couple of years, it seems like Gardevoir is back, ready to give it another round at the top tournaments with some crazy new attacker ability that sets it apart. In my opinion, it's the strongest Pokemon in the trading card game. I hope you guys enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, and hopefully this list was able to show you guys a variety of ways that Pokemon cards can be powerful. I did have to leave a few honorable mentions off this top 10, but it was a fun experiment looking to see which Pokemon continually got good cards over the years. Thank you as always for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time with more Nintendo content.